Yeah. It's time to leave the enemy desolate. I'm heaven sent. These niggas just on some extra shit, and I ain't impressed with it. Could you kick that bullshit to the left of it? Hey, look, you can't deny this excellence. I use this mic like weaponry, and I've been seeking more clarity. Right now, I'm ready as I'll ever be, rugged as I ever been. The devil knocking at my door, I'ma let him in. Cause I'm a worthy adversary. Pour them liqueur laced with rosemary. It's time to grind, ain't no time to tarry. Take one of mine, get your soul carried. I got them worry, plus these niggas full of estrogen. They fickle, they false. Got a big ball, so end up in the real issue. Fuck with my brethren, I deal with you. Yeah. Look, it's getting real official. Seeing how them bitches can cross you, and how they still twist you. It'll hit you, they peel a tissue. Them mothers weak, my brother's been sent to the deep. So tell me, how can I turn the other cheek while this wicked world trying to smother me? Something got to shake, I'm gonna cry it out. Time to gird up my loins and ride out. In my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. On my door, death is waiting. But I don't want to see no more desolation. I said I don't want to see no more. And in my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. Out my door, death is waiting. But I don't want to see no more desolation. But I don't want to see no more.
Beat the cops, beat the ops, beat the motherfucking eyes. I'm the one. Why you think that I've been rolling with a cod? Your little arms is too short to hotbox with God. French is long, team strong with them, a gun down would die. Tired of these fake snakes, crooked names to oppress Jake. No pressure makes diamonds I won't break on this crooked landscape. We gon' make some shake, so I ain't got time to argue with you fucking reprobates. While these crackers getting richer when we raise the crime rate, and they hunt my people like gorillas and some primates. So we in these streets trying to raise a brother's mind state in every concrete jungle, from Cali to the tri-state. I buried brothers over beef that they couldn't squash. Blood in the streets, brains out like galosh. I trust the cracker when I mix that squash. You listening to real niggas, dog, who can't be bought. Whoa. Why you think I go so hard? Cause this world's fucked up, nigga, I've been scarred. PTSD, brothers can't drop their guard. Every day some bullshit, you gotta weave and vibe. It's no facade, so every day I'm on my job. It's time to send these devils to the land of Nod. Cause when I lost my religion, that's when I found God. So when I lost my religion, nigga, I found God.
In my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. On my door, death is waiting. But I don't want to see no more desolation. I said I don't want to see no more. Hey, in my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. Out my door, death is waiting. But I don't want to see no more desolation. And I don't want to see no more.
I've been taking too many days off. Now I'm on the move, trying to save y'all. Woke up to the news, it's a blaze. Wishing death to fake Jews like I'm Adolf. And I'm screaming more fire, more fire. Give them more fire, more fire.
Oh, snap. Sorry. Can you move that camera, sir? I didn't realize it was facing that way. All right, yeah, right there is good. All right. So, that on very brief. All right, welcome. All right, Shalom Israel, Shalom Yahweh, Shalom Yahweh, Shalom Shabbat, to all the brothers. Shalom Shemite Left by Shalom Shout to our sisters. Today is ISUPK Wednesday law class out of Arizona. Officer Razan, I'm about to say Razak. Officer Razan holding it down today. And as you see, the title of today's class is The Wickedness of the Enemy, right? They try to put it somewhere so that you guys understand, because like sometimes I feel like oppressor, right? That puts people on a negative standpoint. You know what I mean? Like they kind of like more opposed to wanting to hear you. But we all know that we got enemies. You know what I'm saying? So figure if you hear that you have an enemy, somebody that's against you or your op. You know what I'm saying? That you do have ops out here. You know what I'm saying? It's not your own people. You know what I'm saying? Your own people is not your biggest ops out in this world today. The biggest op is the people that have oppressed you for the last 400 or 500 years. And a lot of people will hear that, especially our Judite brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? When they hear that, they'll say, well, we've only been in this country for 400 years, but 100 years before that, you know what I'm saying, our oppressor, he was going through this country, you know what I'm saying, right there on the East Coast, taking it over already in North, Central, South America, oppressing our Hispanic brothers and sisters before then. So yes, it's been 400 or 540 years of oppression on this side of the globe. You know what I'm saying? That's facts. Now he's been taking people on slave ships for that amount of time. You know what I'm saying? 100 years before we was on slave ships, you know what I'm saying, our Hispanic brothers and sisters, our North American Indians brothers and sisters were on slave ships. So our enemy has been very wicked, and our people has indulged in its wickedness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the big thing I want to hit on today. So we hit on today is like the wickedness that our enemy has done to us, but I also hit on how our brothers and sisters have also joined in on their wickedness. So let's start off with Trump, right? Donald Trump was elected president, back in let's say he's been in office for a week. A little over a week he's been in office. And he has made so many bills or legislation that directly affects the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Listen, a couple days out in office, there's people from ICE on Native reservations trying to arrest the natives. Like, you gotta ask yourself, how does that make sense? You gotta remember that, you all voted, this man into power, right? I think it's like 55% of our Hispanic brothers and sisters voted for Trump. About 20-30% of Black brothers and sisters voted for Trump. I'm saying y'all votes went to him. This is what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted closed borders. Y'all wanted like tougher immigration laws. But the immigration laws are only tough for one group of people. Where was the ICE? Like the whole time I saw those ICE raids, I did not see not one ICE raid in Chinatown.
Right.
I ain't seen not one ICE raid, on the East Indians, on the Pakistanis. And just today, Trump did two things today. One, he passed a bill called the Lock-in Act. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. But basically, they can go and imprison those of who are immigrants that committed a so-called crime. Like, since they shoplifted, burglarized, whatever. He said this to protect the American people. But we know that the protection is only for one people specifically. You know what I'm saying? It's only targeted to the Hispanic brothers and sisters. It's not targeted to anybody else. Because they have to say how, they always highlight, saying the woman that was sexually assaulted by two Venezuelan men. You know what I'm saying? When they were immigrants here, illegal immigrants, I believe. But they didn't bring up all the violence, it says that came about when they brought the Afghanis here, when they brought the Ukrainians here. Those incidents aren't highlighted at all, but they're very quick to highlight when the so-called Hispanic does something wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody else gets swept under the rug, but your wicked acts have to be brought out front and center, which means one thing, right? That one, you shouldn't be doing these wicked acts anyway. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying those brothers did was right, because it was definitely wrong. You should never force yourself onto any woman. But what I am saying is, how they're highlighted and have a whole act made because of their act is very egregious in my book. Because what about the Ukrainians that were committing violence when they came over? What about the Afghanistans when they came over? What about the Chinese? You know what I'm saying? East Indians and the Chinese are the number 1 and 2 most illegal aliens, so-called, in this country. Right? That's here illegally. Now, y'all listen to, you know what I'm saying, the rhetoric that's pushed out today, you will assume that the so-called Hispanics are the number 1 illegal immigrants in this country. It's not even true. For the last 5-6 years, it's been the Chinese or East Indians. And you probably wonder, like, how can that be when they come on airplanes? Y'all must have never seen no movies, huh? Because the movies show you a lot what they do behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? These ideas aren't just thought up for the movies. They come from real events. Listen, a lot of Chinese are brought over here in cargo ships. They're in those big cargo crates, and they're brought over here illegally. They get over here. They got the Chinese that own shipyards that bring these cargo ships in. And then they get over here. They help them get whatever documentation that they need to get, so they can have jobs or like work in a business. A lot of your Chinese immigrants. Council, you got something?
Salaki, I was just gonna say, and they ain't even gotta be extravagant about it. They could literally just hop on a plane with a passport and come over to the United States to visit, and then decide to live here. And that makes you an illegal immigrant, because that's not the proper avenue of becoming a United States citizen.
Right.
A lot of them cats, they come over here with a passport and all of that, but they reside here and never become U.S. citizens. That's basically what a lot of our Hispanic brothers have done, except they just take a car. They take a car, they cross that border, they come over here, they get a job, and they live here. They just never become a legal citizen. But that's the way everybody does it. And it ain't got to be extravagant. You ain't got to hide in the wheel well of a goddamn airplane. You can just come over here as a visitor and then never leave, and that makes you an illegal immigrant. And like you said, it's so many of them that do that. But for some reason, nobody's focused on that. Like you said, if they was to go into them Chinatowns, they will find that a lot of them Chinese people, them Asians, that most of them can't speak English. None of them are residents and U.S. citizens.
Right.
ICE would have a field day with them, but they don't want them. This is all a front to just attack the Northern Kingdom.
Exactly. Count the water for that, sir. That's exactly right. You're gonna understand that our enemy is only focused on one group of people. Matter of fact, just to show you how much he's focused on us, we get to talk with Ezekiel 35. Where I want to go first. It kind of plays into service I did before, where I talked about our enemy's perpetual hatred for us. Right? If y'all know, perpetual means everlasting. You know, it's ongoing. It doesn't stop. See,
verse 1.
Council, yeah.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it.
Right. So starting off, so just so we can give y'all some context, right? Because some of y'all might not know why exactly it's saying Mount Seir when you just heard me talk about our oppressor. You know what I'm saying? The so-called white man. Why am I reading something that says Mount Seir? biblically speaking, our oppressor is who we call Edomites. They're the descendants of Esau. When Esau went when Esau left from Isaac, he went and settled in Mount Seir, and that's where he went to settle originally, in the mountains over there. So when you see the Lord say against Mount Seir, he's talking to our so-called oppressors today. Keep going.
Verse 3, and say unto it, thus saith the Most High God, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate.
Right. So the Most High is already telling you here that he's against Mount Seir. So this is one of the things that eliminates God loving everybody, God being for everybody. Right here, he clearly stated that he's against these people. Not only that, but he's here, we have to prophesy against these people. So when people ask us, like, why we focus so much on black versus white, it's not that we're focused on it, but our job is to wake up our people, and our job is to prophesy these words. We are like a trumpet. We're here to warn you and speak the Most High's words. So Most High says to prophesy against these people. So that's what we'll do. Can you jump down to verse 5?
Verse 5, because that thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel.
Right. So it said that thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Like I said, perpetual means everlasting. It's ongoing. It doesn't stop. Since before Ezekiel's time, right? And even after that, he has had a perpetual hatred against us. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you in a little bit that every chance this oppressor has gotten, he has shed the blood of the children of Israel. Keep going.
And has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end.
Right. So here's the thing. We're not supposed to be, every time we go into a captivity, it's always been for a certain amount of time, right? At the time that captivity ends, and then we're brought out of that captivity by the Lord, we're put back into our own land. But this captivity has been a special case because our enemies here have been so oppressive toward us, even when they should have relaxed on us, they continue their oppression of us. And you hear a lot of our enemies say, well, you were freed in 1860s. We had this whole civil war for you. We gave you, integration. We gave you civil rights. We gave you affirmative action. But how did that stop the oppression of my people? Since we were led to be free, our people have faced nothing but oppression here. And the only difference now than back then, that everybody has a phone with a camera on it. That's the only difference. Listen, racism never went nowhere. It never died down. It never was quiet for a little bit. The only thing it went from to being overt to being a little bit more covert. That's the only difference between them. But the oppression, the hatred towards us never went anywhere. Listen, you can look up online right now a long and exhaustive list of so-called race riots. These race riots were not riots. These were massacres. These were the unaliving of our people. And not just the so-called black man, but also for the so-called Hispanic man too. Listen, right here in Arizona, right? When the U.S. came and took over this land, there was a law put in place and a deal put in place for those that lived over here already on this side of the border, that they will be made citizens here and they'll be able to keep their land. Right? And those that stay on the opposite side of the border, okay, will stay and be considered Mexican, will continue to be considered Mexican citizens. Now, what your oppressor did from that point on was hire bounty hunters who would go and unalive those Hispanic residents and sisters that owned land. And this is all during what they call the gold rush to the west, because a lot of their land was close to where you would find gold at the time. This is what the oppressor did. He made sure that he had ordered people he hired bondholders to go, unalive the so-called Hispanic brothers and sisters, and take their land. So as you see, he's never been a man to keep his word. He always finds a way out. Look at Central Park. It used to be called Seneca Village, where the so-called black man, woman, and child lived. What did he do? He used what they call manifest. There was not manifest destiny. I forgot what that law was that he used in order to take away that land from those that lived in Seneca Village, and then create Central Park. Because Central Park was already there, but he wanted to expand it to where Seneca Village was at. Not only that, but you look at someplace like Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is not a natural lake. Lake Lanier is a man-made lake that sits on top of the town of Martin. Martin was a city of black folks that lived there. And the so-called oppressor used some type of lie again and his hatred for us to run us out that town and unalive a bunch of us, and then flooded the town. And that's not Lake Lanier is not the only one either. Listen, everything I'm telling you is history, but history that you're not taught or ever shown. But there is, well, I do want to bring this out too, because there is a payment for our oppressors and what he's done to us. Keep going for verse 6.
Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Most High God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
Right. So, as I said, therefore, this does not want to turn on. This phone is against me today. As I said, therefore, as I live, saith the Most High God, I will prepare thee unto blood. Right. So, and keep going. And blood shall pursue thee. Right. So, as our enemy had no problem shedding our blood, right? He had no problem unaliving us. Look at the border right now. You got kids over there, not getting fed properly, not getting things to brush their teeth. The U.S. does a lot against the Geneva Conventions, right? And how to properly take care of your what's it called? Prisoners of war, if you want to put it that way, right? The U.S. has not done that. The U.S. has done a lot against the Geneva Conventions. This I know this place is wicked. Over there, right? What's going on between the Israelis and the Palestinians, right? And Hezbollah. Hezbollah treated those Israelis captives with respect and make sure they have food, water, brush their teeth, all kind of things nonsense they did for them over there. You know what I'm saying? But thwart for that eminent domain. That's what that was called. That they used to take over Seneca Village. Thwart for that. But Israelis didn't do the same thing for the Palestinians that they took. And same thing over in the U.S. They treat the Hispanics at the border in those cages as cattle and as less than humans. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if you know, but Trump is also ordered, right? And tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Trump has ordered that Trump is working on putting a bill into place where it will give bounty hunters the right to go search and arrest illegal immigrants. Now, I don't know if y'all know about history, and most of y'all probably don't know what I'm talking about, what that means, or how it's supposed to sound familiar to you. If you think back to slavery, right, when our ancestors, right, the so-called black man or woman would escape from the plantation, they had bounty hunters that would go and find those escaped slaves and bring them back. All Trump is doing is bringing back that system again. And this time, he's using it on our so-called Hispanic brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? It's you know what I'm saying? Doing what he's doing is kind of how like how the police force has started. Yeah, man. Let me one second. I'm gonna give y'all a couple examples, right? But first, I want to get Deuteronomy 17th chapter real quick. So what y'all know that the only people that you are supposed to believe in and trust and vote if be, right? Because the Most High is supposed to choose who rules over Israel. You're not supposed to vote for your oppressor. Because you voted for your oppressor, you voted for your enemy, that Trump is allowed to enact the bills and legislations that he's allowed to enact because he was voted in. So Deuteronomy, the 17th chapter and the verse 15.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Most High thy God shall choose.
Right. So the Most High said you will set over a king who he chose, right? Most High chose Saul. He chose David. You go through the book of Kings and Chronicles, it shows you the other brothers that were chosen to be king, but they were all chosen by the Most High. Keep going.
One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee.
Right. So from among your brethren, this is why Muhammad can't be a prophet for us, right? Because he's not one of us. Muhammad is an Arab, Ishmaelite. There's a problem that we see a lot of our brothers and sisters that are in the Muslim faith try to say that Muhammad was a prophet. He's not one of us. So he's not somebody that the Most High would choose to bring in a new law onto us or a new way of life. He was an enemy, just like the white man today is an enemy. Keep going.
Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
Right. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. Right. And you gotta understand and realize that the Most High has done this for our protection, right? Because he knows how our enemy is and how our enemy would treat us. Matter of fact, I want to get you want to go to not there. You want to go to the book of Numbers, the 20th chapter. Like I said, like even before Ezekiel's time, right, we've always had these dealings with these people, right, that have just been evil over us, right? And any chance he's gotten, right, he's always acted with violence to us, even when there was no cause for violence. If I could get Deuteronomy, get the book of Numbers, chapter 20 and verse 14.
The book of Numbers, chapter 20 and verse 14. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that have befallen us.
Right. So if you don't know, book of Numbers, this is around the time where we're still in those 40 years in the wilderness, wandering around. And at this point in time, we're coming upon the land of Edom. And Moses is sending messengers to talk to the king to ask permission to cross to the land. Continue.
Verse 15. How our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Most High, he heard our voice, and sent an angel, and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city of the uttermost of thy border. Right.
So Moses having the messengers give the Edomites a rundown what's been taking place. Hey, we ain't been in the land long. We know this is your land now, right? We're down by your border. We're in Egypt for the last however long, right? You know they did us dirty, but now we're up out of there. We want to know if he can pass. We want to know if he can pass through. Continue on.
Verse 17. Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand nor to the left until we have passed thy borders.
Right. So always trying to be that known that we're just trying to pass through. We're not trying to make trouble. Nobody's trying to steal nothing. We're not trying to take your food, water, and anything. We just want to get through your countries and get to the other side, which would be quicker than going all the way around to where they're trying to get to. Continue to verse 18.
Verse 18. And Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword.
Right. So Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come against thee with the sword. Meaning what? You can't come through here. If you come through here, I'm going to attack you. I'm going to unalive a bunch of you if you try to come through here. Now continue.
Verse 19. And the children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway. And if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet.
Right. So he wants to let them know that I'm just the highway. I'm taking the highway. I'm not going into your cities. I'm not going into your towns. I'm passing straight through. If me and my people or my cattle will drink your water, we got the money. We'll just pay you for what we drank. Now you think that sounds reasonable, right? People trying to get through. They're coming through. If they drink anything, let's say they drink any water, anything like that, they're going to pay you for what was drinking. That sounds like a reasonable request, right? Now, just like then, and just like what's happening today, our oppressor is not a reasonable person. All right. Yeah, people that are seeking asylum today who are in a land that the land doesn't have what we have here in the US, right? The land is struggling. Who land is not poor. They don't have a lot of the luxurious life that we have today that they're trying to escape to. Who's coming from land who's filled with violence from these cartels, from these gangs, or from the government itself. And when they came to the U.S. asking for passage into the U.S. for asylum here to escape all that, the U.S. says no. Then they put them in a cage on the border between the U.S. and Mexico. This is how our president has always treated our people. He's always been unreasonable. He's always been, evil towards us. Because when he left Afghanistan, right, he brought over 30,000 Afghanistanis with him. When Russia invaded Ukraine, he brought over millions of Ukrainians. Our oppressor will help anybody that is not us. But when it comes to us, it is always hatred and violence. Right? It's never, what I'm saying? It can never be easy with our oppressor. He always makes it difficult. I'm saying? Like I said, that's because of that perpetual hatred that he's had for us. Yeah, I'm good on that one. We're good on that one. We're gonna First Samuel, let me say 22nd. The 22nd chapter. Once again, this is just showing an example of our oppressor's hatred towards us. His propensity for violence when it comes to us. If I could get the book of First Samuel, the 22nd chapter, and start at verse 9. Well, it's like before you get in that, First Samuel, around this time in First Samuel, right, is when David is on the run from Saul, right? And David at this point in time had went to one of the temples, and the priest gave him some showbread to eat. And Saul had asked, the priest if David was in the area, and of course they lied for David, but unbeknownst to them, there was an Edomite there who saw David at the temple. Right, this Edomite was a herder. Like he was a servant to Saul. We continue start at verse 9.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 22, and verse 9. Then answered Doeg the Edomite, which was set over the servants of Saul, and said, I saw the son of Jesse coming to Nob, and to Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub. Right.
So as as Saul looking to unalive David, right? All right, the Doeg took this chance to go and tell Saul exactly what he saw. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, hey, those priests didn't see him. Said they didn't see him, but I saw David there. I saw him at Nob. I saw him coming to Nob, and I saw him talking to the priest there. Can jump down to verse 14 when this is when Saul is questioning the priest at Nob. Drop down to verse 14.
Verse 14. Then Ahimelech answered the king and said, and who is so faithful among all thy servants as David, which is the king's son-in-law, and goeth at thy bidding, and is honorable in thine house?
Right. So the priest is asking a good question. He wants to know, like, why is that you're after David, who's been nothing but honorable to you, who's your son-in-law? Like, why would you he's married to your daughter? Why would you want to go after him? Like, what has he done that was so foul against you? Continue.
Verse 15. Did I then begin to inquire the Most High for him? Be it far from me. Let not the king impute anything unto this servant, nor to all the house of my father. For thy servant knew nothing of all this, less or more. Verse 16. And the king said, thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou and all thy father's house. Right.
So now Saul feel like he's been lied to. You lied to me. You know what I'm saying? You told me he wasn't here when he was here. You know what I'm saying? You know how I feel about David right now. And you just asked for mercy, but I'm going to deny that mercy right now. So on this day, Ahimelech, you and all your house will be put to the sword. Continue to verse 17.
Verse 17. And the king said unto the footmen that stood about him, turn and slay the priests of the Most High, because their hand also is with David, and because they knew when he fled and did not show it to me. But the servants of the king would not put forth their hand to fall upon the priests of the Most High.
Right. So Saul turned around to the soldiers that behind him and said, "Hey, go, like, all my soldiers, go down there right now. We're gonna unalive all of the priests here." But these soldiers, being, men of the Most High, right, who have fear of the Most High, said, "No, we're not doing that. So we're not going to put our hands against the priest. You know what I'm saying? We're not. That's a wicked thing to do. Why would we? You know what I'm saying? Once again, this is just showing you how Saul at this point in time was kind of like losing his mind a little bit. He was so fixated and his mind terribly destroyed for his hatred for David, because Saul knew at this point in time that the Most High was no longer with him. The Most High was with David, and that David was going to be given the kingdom after him. And as any man with power, right? Saul did not want to lose that power. Saul didn't want to be out of the position that he's in, right? But instead of him taking that, but if he had just done what the Most High said to do at the beginning, he would not be in this position right now. So now he's trying to unalive the priest of the Most High. But the soldiers, the servants said, "We're not doing that." Continue to verse 18.
Verse 18. And the king said to Doeg, turn thou and fall upon the priest. And Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priest, and slew on that day 75 persons that did wear a linen ephod.
Right. So when the soldiers did not want to fall upon the priest, right? Saul turned to the one person that he knew who would do it. That Edomite standing right behind him, who snitched on David. Hey, Doeg, go ahead and go over there and unalive all those priests. And on that day, he slew 75 persons. If those that don't know what a score is 20. A score means 20. So on that day, he unalived 85 people. Right?
85 priests.
85 priests.
Oh.
Listen, that is great wickedness that the Edomite committed on that day. You know what I'm saying? And our oppressor has damn near quadruple, you know what I'm saying? Quadruple, add a bunch of zeros behind a one, right? And our oppressor has unalived that many more people today. You know what I'm saying? In the last 400 or 500 years. You know what I'm saying? The wickedness of our enemy is great. And it's not gone unseen by the Most High. Even though a lot of you would like to think that it has. You know, our oppressor thinks that it has. Now, our oppressor thinks that because he's able to do what he's done so far, what he's done for so long, he thinks that he'll be able to continue doing what he's doing. Even though a lot of it don't even realize that the writing's on the wall. Your kingdom is about to come to an end. Listen, for those Edomites that say they don't believe in the Bible, right? But the writings of the Bible is on the wall. World War III is around the corner, right? Your kingdom is slowly falling, right? You have a lot of your men, right, who are exiting from being with white women. Not only that, but your birth rates are at an all-time low. Y'all are not reproducing and giving birth to children as much or as many as so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans. You're just not doing it. And the only reason why you're in high number today is only because of the oppression you put my people under. Because you put those abortion clinics in our neighborhoods. As I don't know if y'all saw that. I don't know if it's this week's Black Watch or last week's Junior Honda show, where they did the math. Where since they brought the abortion clinics in, well, for the last, I think it was 10 years, been 12 million babies that have been unalived in abortion clinics. That's 12 million children. That's 12 million men and women that we can have today. That would double our numbers than where we're at right now. But because you have fallen for the wickedness of our enemy, because you're okay with using his laws, right? His laws have set us against each other. You know what I'm saying? With welfare, you know what I'm saying? Listen, you can't have the men in there if you want the welfare. The what's it called? The child support. The child support is a very, very evil tactic to put against a man and woman, against each other. We are breaking off, right? Instead of like getting to know each other and keeping that family strong, that woman has incentive to break off from you, or just use you to get pregnant, and then she can get all your money. Right? Isn't that what a lot of these women do with these athletes and celebrities? I'm saying they dream and hope for a day they can sleep with a celebrity just to get pregnant, so they can get that celebrity for all this money for child support. Which to me, that's one of the child support is one of the dumbest things, and for a few reasons, right? Here's why it's stupid to me, right? Because you're only getting a fixed amount of child support. Now, for the rich, right? You know, for those who don't make that much, you know, so be paying anywhere from $50 to $400 or $500 a month, right? Of course, you don't pay, they put you in jail. But when you're a celebrity, or you're making 150 plus thousand a year, or how many, 6 figures or whatever, you pay that woman in the thousands in child support. My thing has always been the reason why a woman looking for child support instead of looking to have the man as a husband is dumb, is stupid in her mind, because that child support is only for 18 years, or but 23 years, 22 years if the child goes to college. Now after college, child support payments stop. So you're only getting about 2 decades worth of payments. Versus if you become that man's wife, you know what I'm saying? How much more inclined is he to spend money on you than if you're not his wife? You know what I'm saying? That $200 or $300, that says you're getting $4 a month, you could be spending, you know what I'm saying? However much money that man got in his bank account. You know, if that man is making millions, you're a millionaire forever with that man, because that's your husband. But if you just want to get pregnant by him and run through that money, because let's be honest, none of these women that get that child support is saving that money up.
Right.
They're spending like it's water, like they're drinking water. That's how fast they blow through that money. So at the end of those 2 decades, what will you have after that? You're not gonna have anything. You're not gonna have nothing just to show for all that child support that man paid to you, right? But if you're with that man as his wife, listen, you're gonna have a house, you know what I'm saying? Whatever car, you know what I'm saying, that you want, that y'all can afford, you know what I'm saying? You know, whatever trip you and your husband want to take, you know what I'm saying? You get to be in the same household as your child growing up. You don't got to worry about, you know what I'm saying, is he going to pay this week, or is he behind this month for the child support? That's not even a thought in your mind. Only thing that's a thought in your mind is, you know what I'm saying, we're taking care of the kids. But all of y'all are so wicked that instead of looking long term, right, and looking what the future can hold for you down the line, all you look for is the short term. What can I get right now? You know what I'm saying? And that's where our oppressors has done to our people. Like, you don't even think about how this affects you down the road. Now, if I can also get the book of First Maccabees. Like I said, right now I'm showing you guys examples of our people, you know what I'm saying, of our oppressor being wicked towards us. Sad. Started Maccabees 1 and 11. Well, just to give backdrop real quick, the first Maccabees takes place during when the Romans were coming into power, right? This after Alexander had passed away. Not the Romans, but the Greeks. Slock it. This is after Alexander the Great has passed away, and Ptolemy it's kind of ruling at this time in the area. He took his area to rule, and it's over when his area was over the Israelites. If you can start at verse 11.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Right. So in those days went out of Israel wicked men, right? These brothers were not content with what they had there already, right? They weren't content. They weren't happy with what they had. They're going to make an excuse that, you know, saying they don't have what the other countries have, what these other nations have that are around them. So what's their answer to all that is to go and make a covenant, make treaties, you know, promises and partnerships with these other people. Keep going.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Right. They feel like we ain't have much. We ain't have much rich, much wealth since we've, you know, exited whatever our last captivity. Here's the problem with that, right? It takes time to build a nation back up. It's not a quick thing. Once again, some of our people are very short-term thinking. They're not long-term thinking. So what that means if they don't get what they want right away, that they will Shalom says that they don't get what they want in a quickly fashion, then they feel like it's just not worth it. They need something quicker. They need that fast money. Right? That's why a lot of our people sell drugs right now. They sell drugs right now because they want the fast money. Listen, working a regular job or moving up a corporate ladder takes too much time. I want the money now and quickly. I want to be rich now. I want to be wealthy now. We don't even have wealth for real in our neighborhoods, but our people want money now. They want luxuries quickly. They don't want to put in the blood, sweat, and tears till they build something up. Can continue?
Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
Right. So like I said, they weren't happy, right? And so what they went and did was they said, went to the king and said, "Hey, we want to do like the heathens are doing, because like we ain't got nothing around here. They got all the attractions and everything like that. We want to do what they do." And the king said, "Yeah, sure. Why not? Go right ahead." And so they built things after the places of exercises. The places of exercises is what they call like the coliseums, right? We built coliseums and stadiums in Israel because they had that in Rome and in Greece. That's the only reason why that we built those type of things. Because we want to do exactly what they did. Here's what they don't tell you a lot about that portion of history. A lot of those Greeks and those Romans, what they were doing when they had the places of exercise, they were doing that stuff nude and they were doing that stuff naked. Because they're wrestling naked, they're in the nude naked. That's why if you ever asked yourself when you watch the Olympics, right? You watch gymnastics, you watch those college wrestlings or high school wrestling. Why do they wear such tight uniforms? Because at some point they feel like, okay, we can't have them out here naked. You got to put something on, but they still wanted the appearance of them being naked. so they made these form-fitting outfits. You know what I'm saying? That's why women wear such form-fitting outfits that are like, you know what I'm saying, showing their booty cheeks and stuff like that. That's why the men wear those tight outfits that stop, you know, just below the groin. No, that's why. And a lot of people want to take after those events, after those things. Good. Let's see. I'm gonna jump down to verse 20.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 20. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof.
Right. So after we've went and we've tried so hard, right, to fit in with our oppressor, right, to do what he's done, to be like him, to build the things that he has, and take upon his customs and things. Antiochus, right, decides that, hey, you know what? I've already taken over. I already got Egypt now. Now I'm going to go up there and take Israel. And not when he went in there and took over Israel, he didn't stop with just taking over Israel. He went and took our temple. He took away the altar, the candlestick. That's the candlestick of light, right? That's our menorah, and all the vessels and potteries and everything of value that we had in there. He took it out, and they took away to his place so he can keep them. So they can have, like, you know what I'm saying? It's what our press always done. They're always taking things out of a land that of value and taking back to their own lands. That's why you have museums. The museums is the Edomites showing their spoils of war, right? That's why, you know, when certain countries ask for their things back, they're like, well, how can we trust you? How can you trust to properly, you know, display and take care of such a priceless item? That's a very arrogant thing to say to somebody. Like, I don't know if y'all know, but there's been many African countries that have asked the British museums, hey, we want certain items in there that belong to our ancestors that are of great religious importance to us. We want it back. And every time they're told, well, we don't trust y'all to take care of it, so we're gonna keep it here. As if it's theirs to keep. But this has always been how our oppressors have been. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know what I'm saying, the Bible says that things are written aforetime were written for our knowledge. Our oppressors are always going in and taking stuff and taking it back to his land. Let's see. Just want to jump down to get Get verse 30.
Verse 30. And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel.
Right, which goes again, if you ever read Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, right? It tells you that never trust thy enemy. Now, our people have a problem with wanting to trust our enemy, right? That's what they did. They thought that, since he came in, he took the stuff, and they were to deal peacefully with him. They thought that he would just leave, and they thought he would just leave and be gone. But he said, "Hey, you know what? I just really want peace with y'all, man. I really want to work this out. I know I came in and took some of y'all stuff, but I really just want to work it out with y'all." I'm saying, when we believe that, he took that opportunity to further destroy us, to go in and destroy our people, destroy our land. You know what I'm saying? It's every chance that he gets, our enemy raises the sword against us. Now, that's no different than today. Your enemy wastes no opportunity to put the sword against you. We were freed, right? So-called free from slavery, right? What did the oppressor do at the certain amount of time of us being so-called free and building up our own cities? He welcomed in all of these other, all of these European countries, right? What do you say? Give me your sick, give me your poor, give me everybody, and here they can follow the American dream. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, y'all. We didn't all heard it, so you can always look it up in Google. But our oppressor, every chance he gets, he does something to undermine us. No, not because at that time he lost his workforce, right? His primary workforce. Who else is going to pick the cotton? Because only so many of us went back to be share farmers, right? Those of us others went to build cities, to build towns. So they're not at the point in time getting the same production for cotton and sugar that they had before. So what else are they to do? And then they have all these black folks that are trying to build their own things, and they can't let that continue. So they bring in all these Europeans, because that's who was mostly coming over at the time, were Europeans. This is when your Polish come over, your Irish start to come over a lot more. Who else? The Swedish, all those other European countries, right? Which at the time, if you don't know your history, right, the so-called white man that was over at the time did not see a lot of those other European countries as white folks. They saw them as different people. But because he needed the numbers, right? He wanted to continue the further oppression of our people. He made it so that those other people were not considered white folks in America. So that way they can give them all these grants and loans and acres of land to these white people. Because one thing he did not do, which he never does, is keep his word, right? He did not give us our 40 acres and a mule. Remember, that was probably a Emancipation Proclamation, right? It was to do two things. One, it was to end slavery. One of the things that ended slavery, the 14th Amendment ended one form of slavery and started another. But another thing that happened, that was supposed to happen, is that those were supposed to get 40 acres of land and a mule so that we can farm. And also part of that proclamation too was to send a lot of us back to Africa. Now, a lot of people don't know that part. But guess what? None of those things happened. We weren't sent back to Africa, or to West Coast where we were taken from, and we weren't given the 40 acres. But those Europeans that came over here through loans and grants was able to get 50 acres of land. So some only did not give us what was promised to us, but they gave somebody else more than what they had promised to us, more than what the proclamation that the bill that was passed said that we were supposed to receive. This is how our president has always operated. That's how he's always done. right? If I could, I'm gonna get Revelation the 18th chapter. I won't be too much longer, y'all. If I can get there. Right, if I could, Revelation the 18th chapter and start at verse 3.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Right. So, why were these other nations able to become rich with America? Right. Why is that? Why? Because this, you don't know this, like considered mystery Babylon, right? We know, and anybody that reads the Bible knows that mystery Babylon is America. So why were they able to become rich, to have all these great things? It's because of you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. Because everything that you have done for this country, these countries get rich off of your labor and off of your dime. Think about it. I think what they said, like in spending power alone, if we were a nation unto ourselves, we would be like you have like the seventh most country that spends money if we had our own country. That's how much money black folks spend, and Hispanic folks spend. That's how much we spend. So of course these places, when they come over, America allows them to put jobs and businesses into our neighborhoods, so they become rich in our neighborhoods and can send that money back to their families in, whatever part of the world that they're from, whether it be somewhere over the Middle East, saying Asia, whatever, right? They're able to do that. They're able to build those jobs in our those businesses in our places. But the verse is not possible. You tell me a black-owned store that's owned in Chinatown, or store that's owned in what is it called? Japantown, Little Japan, Little Tokyo, because they might call it Little Tokyo. You show me a black business that are in an East Indian neighborhood, or that's in a Hamite neighborhood. you show me that black-owned business. There's not going to be one. And even when you open up a business in your own neighborhood, around your own people, your enemy works against you to make sure these businesses don't stay open. I read last year how a brother, right, in a black neighborhood, mind you, opened up a beauty supply store, right, that's catered to black women. Now, there's also a Chinese beauty store open in the same neighborhood. No, the Chinese man does. He tells the vendor that sells to both of them, if you continue to sell to the black man down there, I'm not going to do business with you anymore. I'm to all my people, nobody's going to do business with you. Which does what? That hurts that vendor's business. So what he's going to do? He's going to stop selling to the black man down the street because he wants that Chinese money. And that's the way that they end up shutting down businesses in our own neighborhood. Now, ask yourself, when was the last time an Asian store in your neighborhood gave any money to that neighborhood, that they've donated any money? Did they give any money to the school board? Because let me tell you this: you see their people, but you do not see their kids in your schools. Think about that. They got all the jobs, they got all these businesses in your neighborhoods, but their kids will go to the same school that your kids go to. You know what I'm saying? They go to something more that they consider more prestigious, right? Something that's more high class, where they send their kids, where they can get a so-called better education. They're able to do this and get rich off of our people. Now, I'll continue. Verse 4. Constant.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Right. So Most High is urging us to, and to not be partakers of this place, right? To come out of her. But does that mean to leave? Because a lot of people are very simple-minded, right? They think that you have to leave and go somewhere else. Remember, the curse is going to follow you anywhere you go. So it don't matter where you go, but to come out of her is to not do what this country does. Don't follow the ways of the heathen, right? Don't be like the heathen. The Bible says, "Be not." As a kind of paraphrase, be not like your oppressor and choose none of their ways, right? Don't be like our people. Don't be like those people. Don't do what they do. I'm saying, come out of all that wickedness, right? So that way, when this place is punished, you're not punished with it. Continue.
The book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities.
Right. So it says that her sins have reached unto heaven, right? That means the Most High remembered her iniquities. If the Most High forget, he didn't forget. But what it is showing that the Most High sees, he's marking down all that our oppressor has done unto us. Everything that he's done to us has been marked down. Because this place has committed great iniquities. It's committed great sins, right? That's what this place has done. Right? The Most High is going to destroy this place, man. If I was you, I wouldn't want to be here when that happens. You know what I'm saying? Great destruction is coming to this land. And you got a choice to make. You know what I'm saying? If you can continue in the wickedness of our enemy, or you can decide to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments and follow the Most High. That's your choice. Your choice is, as said in Deuteronomy, right? It's either life or death. Those are your choices. A lot of people will say that sounds like an ultimatum, not a choice, because it is. It is an ultimatum. But let me ask you this: why would you want to choose death? Wouldn't you rather have life? Do you want to continue with the hardship that you go through now? Or do you want to fight and prepare your people for the kingdom that's to come? Because as long as we continue in the wickedness of our enemy, right, we don't continue to do what they do and partake in her sins, all that is waiting for you is death. Because the wages of sin is death. That's all that awaits you. As a hard life and struggle awaits you. You know what I'm saying? And death isn't an immediate thing, right? It's not something that just means you just die. Listen, those people out there right now, I think Phoenix is like the number one, or Arizona's number one place for crack cocaine and meth use. Not meth use, but I want to say fentanyl. Listen, out here in Arizona, you run across so many people that are on fentanyl and crack, or these illegal drugs, right? That it is an astounding thing to see. And those people are definitely dead. They may be walking around, maybe able to talk and buy things and interact with you, but best believe those people are dead. You know what I'm saying? That's a spiritual death, not a physical one. So that way y'all understand. Listen, the people that we're here to wake up in the ISUPK is the valley of dry bones. Our people that are out there spiritually dead, we're here to give you life, to breathe life back into those bones of yours, man. So that's that way, you know what I'm saying, that you can once again have the love of the Most High again. That you can serve him with all your mind and soul and your heart, whatever, paraphrasing, of course. But you can't do that if you continue in the same wickedness. You can't do that if you're taking illegal substances. You can't do that if you're engaging in LGBTQ activities. You can't do that if you're engaging in interracial relationships. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do that, and you can't do that if your only mode of thought is short term. And ISUPK, we play the long term game. That's the game. That's what we're fighting for. That's the race that we're running. Not the short term. Not the short term that you get in America. What's the long term? What's after this, right? What do we do this work for? We do this work for the Most High, for the reward that the Most High promised. Because the Most High is a man that keeps his promises. He does. He's always kept his promises with us. And with that, you know what I'm saying, with that promise comes some rulership over the earth. Because this kingdom is falling. And they're sitting, you know, saying, as it goes, you know, saying Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that follows. But you only get that position, that best position in the Most High's kingdom, in the kingdom of heaven, if you do what the Most High wants, if you do what He says. You know what I'm saying? And what He says is to follow and listen to Him. And you got to step away from your enemy. I understand some of y'all don't know who your enemy is, right? Because a lot of you guys have fallen for the lies of our enemies, right? For the tactics of our enemy. You know what I'm saying? You don't see yourself as one of our people. And it is a sad thing. I do want to end the class with, right, is the book of Job. So that way you know who your enemy is, right? So you can take your trust and love out of this country and put it back into your people. Give your trust and love to the Most High. And as you give that trust and love to the Most High, you'll then put your love and trust into your people. So you can do for your people. Because right now, where we're at right now is not where we should be at. We've sunken so far into the wickedness and the degeneracy of this land that it's disgusting. And we're all disgusting. We are all disgusting for the Most High. But as it says, through the washing of the word, can you be made clean? Now, I can't force this on you. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't, you know, drag you. I can't drag you to the door kicking and screaming. I can't do it. You have to want to come in here. Before that, the Most High has to choose to come in here. But the Most High has chosen you. He's choosing you. He's called you, right? Because it said, for many are called, but few are chosen. He's calling you to come in here. All right? If you're here in this class right now, that means you're being called. We're blowing the trumpets for you to come home. But I said, I'm not going to drag you to that building, kicking and screaming though. You have to want to choose life. You have to want to live. You have to want more and better for your descendants down the line. Also with that, you have to know who your enemy is. Who's the enemy of wickedness? Who's the enemy whose wickedness that you've fallen into? That you know what I'm saying, throw away your women. That you're on all kinds of illegal substances. That you're engaging in abominable acts, eating unclean eating unclean creatures. Even when you're showed, you know what I'm saying, the side effects from eating such things. We've been put in such a psychological we've been put in such a psychological chokehold. It's crazy. A lot of people suffer what's called the illusory truth effect, where you believe the lie. That's what people have done. You have believed the lie, even when you're shown the truth. And that's an effect, a psychological effect that you can break out of, but you have to want to break out of it. If I could get the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24.
The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Right. The Bible says the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Right. It means like we know who runs this place, who's on top right now. Just look at who's running everything. Right. Just look at it. This is the first step to you knowing who your enemy is. Continue.
He covered the faces of the judges thereof.
Right. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. What is this? This is whitewashing. Nobody has whitewashed more things on this earth than our oppressor, because that's exactly what it is. He's taken our book, our Bible, right, our records, and have made everybody in his records to be white men, to be white people. Period. That's what he's done. Even though this Bible gives you many examples of how these are people of color, so-called, right? Or just, all the people like to say today, melanated people, as they like to say today. Even though, I'm not getting that. But it shows you who he took, right? They took the greatest man alive, right? Jesus Christ, Yahushua Mashiach, and made him with blonde hair and blue eyes, stringy hair. Even though it says that he had a white afro, he had a fro, and he was dark skinned, skin of bronze is burnt in the furnace. Just type in on Google burnt brass. It's black. It's black as hell. You know what I'm saying? That's what burnt brass looks like. Burnt brass is very, very dark. You know what I'm saying? But he's taken that image and made that image to look like him. He's whitewashed Christ. Continue.
If not, where and who is he?
If not, where and who is he? Right? If he's not the one that's doing it, then who is it? Who is it? There's also the verse, that goes, saying, who make the truth into a lie? Why do people believe there's such contradictions in the Bible when there is none? Because our oppressors have made the truth into a lie. He's created confusion and everything that's like it. So that was just you can think, right, and know who your enemy is, and know that it's time for you to come out of the wickedness of your enemy, right? Stop indulging in it, right? It's time to be what we're called to be. God's chosen people. It's time that we started acting like people who are, I don't want to say bougie, right? No, I don't want to say bougie. But I do want to say it's time for you to start acting like you have pride in your race. You have pride in who you are as a people. Because the way we act right now, we don't have any pride in who we are. You don't have any pride when you're selling all these things that hurt your people. You don't have any pride in who you are when you're letting our women go out there damn near naked. You know what I'm saying? That's not pride. You only have pride in yourself if you're going out there like that. We don't have the pride that we don't have the pride that we're supposed to have in our people and who we are. Listen, there's nothing wrong with having the pride as a people, right? Because of who we are. But as we stand right now, as we are right now, the world will continue to see us as nothing. Even though the Most High said that those other nations are nothing and are less than nothing. The Bible said that you are the greatest people on the face of this earth. You're supposed to be above all nations. But because we have continued to sin against our Father, sin against our God, that's why we're here. That's why that we say in UPK that it's time for you to give up those sins. It's time for you to set your life right. It's time for you to serve your God. It's time for you to stop being selfish. All right, and with that, we're in the class. So once again, like I said, with the ISUPK, out here in Phoenix, like I said, address right there on the bottom of the screen. We got classes Tuesday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Got Sabbath service every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Like I said, you come off of you get off of a Cactus right there, 20th Drive in Cactus, right across the street from the QT. And if you're in the Phoenix area, man, come out. You ain't got to be in the Phoenix area. Just if you're in Arizona, come out. Try to make it here as much as you can. There's no excuses because I used to drive from Tucson to come to class.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Before I moved out to Phoenix. So y'all ain't got no excuses why you can't be here. Because if I did it, you know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all rush to class 10, 15, 20 minutes from the school, most likely. You know what I'm saying? There are no more excuses, right? But with that, shalom.